PSG versus Manchester United, second leg Champions League tie. Many people describing this as mission impossible for Manchester United. 2-0 down, 2 away goals, massive injury crisis, off to Paris, the city of love. It might not be a love fest for Manchester United, but mission impossible is what many people feel. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is the PSG versus Manchester United. You've probably got a double bit of audio there. Yours. Anyway, some people may say it's Mission Impossible. Well, it wasn't Mission Impossible for Tom Cruise, though, was it? I think he's made 5 films and counting, and he's doing Top Gun 2. So Mission Impossible people are notable by their absence because he's made 5 films. But in relation to Manchester United, massive game against PSG, of course, and I think it will be very, very difficult for us. I mean, that's my predicted lineup on the left there, and I think it will, you know, that. When you look at it, McTominay, Fred, Pereira, Dalot, Lukaku, Rashford as a front 6, basically there's only one player there who plays in our best front 6, and we are playing one of the best teams in Europe that will have the likes of Verratti. I think Mbappe will definitely play. Cavani might play. They've got very, very good players for PSG, and it will be a very, very tough tie for Manchester United. Anthony Martial not expected to start in this game at all. The rumour is that, well, the news is that they don't want to risk him in this. They want to keep him back for Arsenal. I think that's very, very sensible. You look at the risk that was taken on Lingard for the Liverpool game, and we've lost him for 3 or 4 more weeks. I think Martial is imperative to be fit against Arsenal, especially now Alexis Sanchez has been confirmed that he will be out for 8 weeks, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. So I wouldn't risk Martial in this game. Of course, I want Manchester United to go through. I want Manchester United to stay in the Champions League, but I think even with our best team, that would be a struggle. That would be a struggle on Wednesday night. So putting Martial into a game like that where basically everyone's going to have to play at high intensity, you can't carry a player in that, and a player that's coming back from injury, it just doesn't make any sense to throw Anthony Martial into it, which means no Matic, no Herrera, no Martial, Paul Pogba is suspended, Alexis Sanchez injured. It leaves us very, very, very thin on the ground, especially in that massive area of the midfield, which is where most games are won and lost. In fairness, the game at Old Trafford, that is where the game was won and lost, and we had our best midfield 3 of Herrera, Matic and Pogba on the pitch for the whole game. So massively important that Manchester United, I think the main thing out of this game is to come out of it in a position of, how would I say, I can't think of the word. I'm speechless for once. I'm thinking of a word and it won't come to mind. Respectability. I suppose that's the word, but I wanted to think of a better one. Respectability is the thing. Save the best players for Arsenal, says Ty's water bottle. I think Arsenal's a bigger game for us on Sunday, and I know that's going to give Arsenal a lot of ego, but it's more about that game for us is more important. And it's ridiculously arse about face because we're playing Arsenal for 4th spot or 3rd spot, which gets you in the Champions League. And that's the value of this game against Arsenal. But here we have on Wednesday night a game against PSG in the Champions League. So we're prioritising a game against Arsenal, which is for qualification for the game that we're playing on Wednesday. That's the tournament. But I think that's too simplistic, as I said last night. The reality is that this game against PSG, we are 2-0 down. They have 2 away goals, and that makes it very, very, very difficult for us. So, and we're injury hit. I think we'll definitely go there and give it a go. My score prediction is that we might get beat 3-0. I hope it will be far less than that, but I do think we will get beat. I'm going to go 3-1. But we've got a strong goalkeeper. We've got a strong defence. It's what that midfield can do. And I wasn't particularly impressed by McTominay against Southampton at the weekend. And I think against PSG, I mean, if he is the player I think he is, he will get found out. Pereira, can he grow in confidence? Fred, can you just drop him in? I mean, it's a massive, massive question mark over that midfield 3. I don't think you'll see Chong. I don't think you'll see Gomez. I think Dalot has to start in this game. He played so well at the weekend. He played very, very well in midweek against Palace. And obviously Rashford and Lukaku will play. So it's about as experienced as we can go, because I think after that, where is your experience? The bench is going to be very, very interesting. Will he pack it with the likes of Phil Jones and Marcus Rojo and Eric Bailly? Or will he actually put people like Garner and Chong and Gomez on there? And will they get any game time? It really will be a case of suck it and see for Man United, see what we can get. Why don't we play a 3-5-2, says Sassi Sekaran. Well, we could do that. I would like to see us do that. I think it's a very, very good point. You could bring Bailly or Jones in with Lindelof and Smalling, use Young and Shaw as your wing backs, play a midfield three and not play Delo and put Lukaku and Rashford up front, or maybe drop Delo into the midfield. There are a lot of permutations, and that probably won't be the formation we suspect. But I don't want us to go in this game. I mean, Flex is off to Paris tomorrow. He'll be there filming the fan cams after the game, soaking up the experience. Worst case scenario, this could be our last Champions League game for a couple of seasons if we don't get top four. So we've got to soak it up. We've got to enjoy it. I mean, it's not like a Wednesday night Carabao Cup game against Lincoln, is it? It's a Champions League game. The world will be watching. It's Manchester United versus PSG. And I know we've got this game against Arsenal at the weekend, which many of us think is probably more important in the context of the season. But it's still a football game. It's still 90 minutes. What if Verratti got sent off for throwing an elbow in the first minute? What if Mbappe pulls up with a hamstring? Things can change. But the advantage is there for PSG because they play in a pub league. They can be well rested. They have got the advantage. And in Paris, it is a very, very, very atmospheric ground. I mean, I saw Liverpool go there. Liverpool beat them in the group stage at Anfield and used the crowd to their benefit. And then in Paris, they used it as well. It's a very partisan crowd. Paris, partisan. So it will be a tough game. It will be a tough game. And it's all about no embarrassment, as a lot of people are saying there. Marty says you could put Delo as a wing-back. Young is suspended, Mark. Young is out. So there you go. There you go. So, I mean, that opens up a very, very interesting thing where I think you may well be right, where we probably will go 3-5-2 then. No Ashley Young, play Delo, play three centre-backs, and then you basically got your same front five. I mean, if I was to find the whiteboard and pull it up, here we go. So, if you crossed... Oh, twat. If you cross Ashley Young out and you pull Delo back there, and you bring in Bailly there, you've got a 5-3-2. We'll probably do that because the only other alternative is if Young is out, the only other alternative is then we've got to go. We could play a winger like Chong, but I mean, I'd love to see that. It would add so much more to the game, or maybe a Gomez. But I think he'll probably go with the three at the back and use the wing backs. To be honest, I think that's a good call. To be honest, we've established that Young is suspended. Thanks for that man-like moment. I don't appreciate the emojis, so you'll realise what's happened to you. Young isn't out. Look, whether Young's in or out, I wasn't aware that he was out. At the end of the day, if he's in, he's out. If he's out, we'll go 3-5-2. If he's in, we'll probably go with that formation. So that's what I think about it. I don't think Ashley Young is out, but if he is, he is. If he isn't, he isn't. Let the live comments fuck about and be twats. It's up to them, isn't it? But Alexis Sanchez is out for 8 weeks. That has opened up a can of worms, especially on social media, because there are a lot of people saying that that's the end of Alexis Sanchez. Some people saying, I'm glad he's injured. I've always said that no matter who it's been, whether it's been Fellaini, Phil Jones, anyone like that, I don't ever wish injury on anybody because, that's not a nice thing. There was a tweet on the United stand this morning, actually, that someone reacted to really weirdly because we basically said that Alexis Sanchez is out for 8 weeks. That's not too bad because it means he'll be back before the end of the season, and if he wants to go in the summer, he can. And somebody was like, happy he's out for 8 weeks. And basically, anybody who was at Old Trafford on Saturday will know straight after that tackle, Alexis Sanchez was going to be out for a long time. United tried to play on thinking he just took a knock, and he hadn't took a knock. He'd done his knee in. That could have been 8 months, not 8 weeks. And if that's 8 months, anybody who wants Alexis Sanchez out the club, he ain't going anywhere because he's going to be injured all through the transfer window. No one's going to have him. We're going to have to keep him. With 8 weeks, it means he should get back towards the end of the season. And if he does get back towards the end of the season, maybe he can move on in the summer. Personally, I think if he goes in the summer, happy days. It's not worked out. It was Mourinho's mistake. He's on too much money and he's lost a yard of pace. That's my feeling on Alexis Sanchez. Whether he's injured or not, that's my feeling, and I think that will be proved right. Him being out for 8 weeks, does it bother me massively? To be honest with you, I think it solves a problem. I don't wish injuries on him, but it does solve a problem because Alexis Sanchez is a problem for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and that is abundantly clear for all of us who are watching Manchester United games. He represents a real problem because he's the best paid player in the league. You cannot just dump him out of the team because you've got to try and keep some sort of resale value. When you play him, he destroys the team. So him being out for 8 weeks actually makes our job a lot simpler. And I know that sounds odd when you've got people like Lingard and Martial and Mata all injured, but you know what? I think actually we're a better team if you've got Gomez or Dalot or Chong in the team instead of Sanchez, because they're 3 players for differing reasons. They're all very young, who will come into the team, work their socks off, and sort of learn from the players around them. They will do what Pogba tells them. They'll do what other players tell them to do, like Rashford and Lukaku. Whereas Sanchez, I think thinks he's got a right to be top dog. And sorry for the pun, Alexi, I know you love dogs, and it doesn't work. So I think we're better off without Sanchez, but it's a shame about the injury, obviously, because I think he would have... I always felt with Sanchez that one day he would burst on the scenes. And there was a joke going around today about him being out for 8 weeks. What does it matter, because he's been out for 14 months? But I always felt he would. Even at the game on Saturday, I thought, oh, surely this is a game. He's not even playing on the left. He's playing behind the strikers. Surely he's going to jump all over this. But no. Your prediction for starting 11 next season, Mark, says Neil Keedy. Too difficult, Neil. Too difficult to talk about, to be honest with you. I would add Sancho, I would add Koulibaly, and I would add Dembele. George Ramos, I don't think we should be concerned about PSG, as we got nothing to lose to play the youth and see what happens. And also give more praise to Scott McTominay, he was terrific. No, George, I'll choose not to, thank you very much, because I was at the game on Saturday and I thought he wasn't very good. So I won't be giving him any more praise, but that's your opinion. It's great that you think he played well. He played well against Liverpool, he played well against Palace. He didn't play well at the weekend, so I'm not going to give false praise. I don't believe in it. If Ollie doesn't get the job, it will be a crime, says MH. There was something this morning, actually, just on that, MH, about Pochettino is desperate to take the United job. Well, you know, I think maybe Pochettino is desperate to take the United job. He's worked wonders at Spurs. He gets them into a title race, and then he sees them bottling it again, because he can't add any players to that squad, because Daniel Levy is so obsessed with this new stadium, he won't give Pochettino any money. And in the modern day, when he's looking around at his 2 rivals above him, Pep and Klopp, who are basically going to the toilet and spunking out £1 million, it's like, you know, the job Poch is doing. I know we don't want Poch, I don't want Pochettino, but you can understand why he'd probably want to come to United. Unfortunately for him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has exceeded anybody's expectations and forced United, quite rightly, to give him the job. Pochettino never had a chance of getting this job. He can want it all he wants, but he couldn't leave in December because he was under contract at Spurs. We had to wait for the summer till Pochettino, and waiting, we've found somebody that's far, far better for us. So it's a no for Pochettino, I'm afraid, but apparently he would love the job. A Cardi for Lukaku, says J Martin03, your thoughts? I would love it. I would love to get him. I said that yesterday. I spoke about that yesterday. And Harold Holst Schwersvold says Jose Mourinho tried to win £400 million. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used 5 on chocolate. Whoosh, over my head. I'm very tired today. Very, very tired, to be honest with you. Andres Pereira. Sorry, just very, very quickly. There was some rumour today about Isco and Manchester United. I must just bring that up. It's a no from me. These sort of players, these Mkhitaryan's, these Juan Matas, these Kagawas, they don't work at Manchester United. And I like Isco, he's a good player, but where do you fit Isco into Manchester United? We don't play with a number 10. Our best formation, and Ollie's best formation, is 4-3-3. I know we've adapted with the injuries and we've used the 4-2, and it's worked well for us, and you could use Isco in a situation like that, but I don't think he's going to use it that often. I think he'll use it every now and again. So what are you going to do? Isco sit on the bench until we use the diamond? I actually think, and the question is, the PSG game is going to be massively intriguing, because we're going to find out a lot about Fred, McTominay, Lukaku in a big game. Have they got that step up ability? And Pereira especially is going to be fundamental to that on Wednesday night against PSG. So, you know, can Pereira fill that number 10 void? We don't use a number 10 very often, but when we do use a number 10, can we use Pereira in that position? Is he the right man to use? I think that's very interesting indeed. Is Greenwood fit, says Milin Badder? He should be back soon, but I don't know whether he is fit enough to be used in this game. I'd like to see it, but I don't think he is back yet. I want Sancho the most, says Harry Waters. I mean, he is the one to go for, and Wes Brooks agrees with you. Dalot's going to be the next Bale. I'd just be happy for him to be the next Dani Alves, to be honest. I mean, people are obsessing because he's played on the wing, but he played at left back for Porto. He's a right back. He's a right back. I mean, Gareth Bale was scoring 40-yard screamers. I don't think Dalot's going to do that. I think as long as Dalot becomes the next Luke Shaw on the right-hand side, I think we're sorted for fullbacks. I'm very happy with the future of our fullback situation. I think that Dalot, we spent a good bit of money on him. A lot of people wanted him around Europe. It was a good signing. I don't know who was involved in that. If it was Mourinho, fair play. Ashley Young is declining badly. Dalot, I think, looks for a 19-year-old like he's 25. He's got the physique, he's got the power. I just think he just needs to do what all young players need to do, and that's sharpen up his concentration and his game time. And I think he'll be absolutely fantastic. Nick P, one thing is certain at the end of the season, Ollie's not going back to Norway. If we don't hire him next season, I'm sure we will face him in the league. It would be absolutely ridiculous if we didn't keep him, and I 100% think that we will do. Just to go back to the PSG game, I mean, I know there's a lot of people writing it off, and I've just been looking at some of the comments there. I'm really not writing it off. I'm really not writing it off. I think that it's going to be a very, very difficult tie, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has only lost one game, and that was PSG. If he loses against PSG, is there any shame in that? I mean, he's unbeaten in English football. I just don't think we should be written off. I don't think we're going to come through the tie, but I don't think we should be written off. And I think, yeah, we could get beat 4-0. We could win 1-0. We could draw. And I think it's got the potential to be a night where we're very, very proud of the sort of reserves, really. So I'm excited about it. Let's not write it off, is what I'm trying to say. It's a Champions League game. It's Manchester United. There are other clubs playing 24 hours later in a Farm Cup, trying to make that relevant. And we should enjoy Wednesday night. It's probably going to be our last game in the Champions League this season, but we've earned the right to be in it. We've had some interesting results, but we deserve the game on Wednesday night. And to be honest with you, that's a very good angle. It's a reward for some of these players that have stepped up over the last couple of weeks, where we've really needed them to come in, and they get to go and play in Paris. I mean, Pogba will be gutted he's not playing in that game. So will Anthony Martial, both French lads, and they'll be disappointed for the suspension and injury. But for people like McTominay and Pereira and Lukaku, it's reward for what they've done, especially last week, getting us 6 points when we really, really needed it. Big Moss, how can a player like Lukaku, who broke in the top 20 all-time Premier League goal scorers at 25, be a bench player? He could make it to top 5 by the time he is 30. No chance. Absolutely no chance is he a top 5 striker in the world. No way. He's a 30-goal-a-season striker, but so was Darren Bent. I think people get lost in this. Oh, he scores 30 goals a season. He's got to be a top 4 striker. He's got to be one of the best strikers in the world. Go back through the history books, the very recent history books. Kevin Phillips scored over 30 goals in a season. He was a mid-table striker. Just because if you're a 30 goal a season striker, you're worth the money. But it doesn't mean you're one of the best players in the world. It doesn't even mean you could play in a top 4 side. It just means you're a goal scorer. Lukaku is a penalty box king. You need more than that. You need more than that. You need a player who can hold the ball up and get everyone else into the game. And until Lukaku does that, he won't be a first choice striker in a team that's going to win a title. He can still improve. I still cannot understand how somebody can't improve their first touch. You know, if I haven't played football for 6 months, my first touch is like Lukaku's. But as soon as you start playing a bit of five-a-side, you get your touch back in. So I don't see why he can't be down the supermarket car park, kicking it up against the wall. I don't understand it. But maybe it's just the way people's brains work. I don't know. But you know, it's one of the fundamental things you learn from a child is to how to control a ball and how to pass a ball. And I think Lukaku could improve it. I don't understand why he can't. And then if he does that, he can be the complete sort of player. Lingard might be a fan favourite, but in my opinion, he's not good enough for our club. Good squad player with James Rodriguez loan at Bayern ending. We should get him. Look, Lingard's got to stay at Manchester United. I think at times I've been unconvinced by him, but Lingard's got to stay at Manchester United because it's interesting. I was watching the Liverpool-Everton game yesterday, and I thought, you've got all these fans who are mainly Scousers who absolutely know and understand the history of this tie, and you know, they're shouting at each other. It matters. If they lose tomorrow, they've got to go to work and get, you know, bantered by Liverpool, or if Everton win, Everton fans. And I thought, you know, you've got all that passion and everything because they love those clubs and they've been loving those clubs for years. Proper real fans, and the ones watching at home. But then on the pitch, I was like, right, who's a Scouser here? Who is through the youth setup here? Who really gets it here? And actually, there's hardly anybody. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone in a Liverpool shirt. I mean, yeah, they've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. Suppose he's come through the youth setup. Everton, I can't think of anybody. Maybe there's one or two. But you swing that back to Manchester United. We've got Marcus Rashford. We've got Scott McTominay. We've got Jesse Lingard. You've got a few others coming through. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. And Lingard and Rashford are very important to Manchester United because they are two of the better products that we've got in our first team squad. Rashford's a starter. Jesse Lingard, maybe he is a bench player, but what a bench player to have because he gets what it's all about. And, you know, what Lingard may be lacking in ability at times, he makes up for with his pure passion for wearing a Manchester United shirt. It's very, very important in the modern game because the crowd can get it, but if you've got players in the shirt who get it, I think it's a massive advantage, because a lot of players, let's be honest, they're wearing Man City shirts, they're wearing Chelsea shirts, and some of them might be wearing Manchester United shirts. And the only reason they're in the Premier League wearing that shirt is because of the money they're getting in the bank account. And they'd swap that colour of that shirt for any other shirt. Doesn't mean they're not going to try and give a full effort. Yeah, of course they are. But if you've got someone in a shirt who it matters to because they love the club and they know all about the club, it matters more. And it certainly matters more to us fans. So I wouldn't want to see Lingard go because, yeah, maybe he's a bench player, but I want him to stay because maybe, you know, maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, we might have 3 or 4 better players who get what it's all about. Maybe Gomez comes through, Chong comes through, Garner comes through, Greenwood comes through, and then you think, well, maybe Lingard's done his time. Let's move him on in his late 20s, like we move people like Nicky Butt and Phil Neville. But for now, I think he's very, very, very important. Yoel says Pereira must sign. I hope he does, but to be honest with you, it's a massive test for Pereira on Wednesday night. I remember you saying Rashford is our number 9 not too long ago. Would signing Icardi be detrimental to his development, says Sully Kadir. I said at the start of the season that Marcus Rashford should go on loan to Bournemouth, and a lot of people mention that now and say, haha, take the L. But actually, you know, I love it when people say take the L on things because it's always the present. You don't actually look at the circumstances there, do you? And with that, at the start of the season, Marcus Rashford was like Anthony Martial, wasted talent under a rubbish manager. And I know that Rashford's development over the last 2 years under Mourinho hasn't been good enough. What they've got in the last 3 months has been far better than they've had in the last 2 years. And I thought Mourinho was going to be here for a while. So I was like, look, Rashford's not a winger. He can play the wing when we need him to, and we'll need him to against PSG. But when everybody's fit, he's a number 9. He needs to play as a number 9. And I could, you know, if Mourinho was here now, Rashford would be nowhere near number 9 because it would be Lukaku every minute of every game like it was. So I wanted Rashford to go on loan because I want him to develop and be the player that he can be. But we're now seeing that player in a United shirt. So, look, Rashford needs competition. Whether it's Lukaku, whether it's Icardi, whether it's somebody else, you need somebody to be pushing him. Maybe it could be Greenwood, I don't know. But you need 2 top strikers because injuries, suspensions, lack of form. And also, the biggest thing in that is complacency. Marcus Rashford needs to be pushed for that number 9 shirt. I want him to wear it. I want him to break Rooney's record. I've said that a lot of times. But he needs to be pushed. Rebel Dog 8 says, keep Lingard happy to also keep Rashford happy. Yeah, and I think if we are going to get Jadon Sancho, Lingard and Rashford are massively fundamental to that because they are ambassadors of Manchester United in that England squad, and they're influential in that England squad. And you know, you might have Raheem Sterling saying, "Come back to Man City, Sancho," but then you've got Rashford and Lingard blinging it up, blasting out their Jay-Z or whatever they're listening to, going, "No, come down to our house, come to Old Trafford. We'll get you in the crew with Pogba." You know, it's important. It's important. There's all sorts of elements. Rance was saying that Rashford ain't good enough. What do you think? Says Guy 123. I'm not aware of Rance saying that, but he's wrong, and he's wrong on Luke Shaw. But that's only my opinion. But Marcus Rashford is good enough. Didn't play particularly well against Southampton. I don't think he's actually played that well for probably 3 or 4 games now. But what he always does is give 100%, and what he always is a threat. I think at the moment he's going through a bit of a bad patch. You know, he missed a really good headed chance at the weekend. He looks slightly off, but he has been carrying an injury, and he has kept going when we've needed him. And I'll guarantee you, behind the scenes, he's injured. He looks a little bit injured, but he's playing through the pain barrier for our club. It's obvious that he's injured. When he's firing, he's a great player, and he's still very, very young, and he is the real deal. I've always felt it with Rashford. He is the real deal. I think Martial's slightly better, but I think he's the real deal. Like I think Luke Shaw's the real deal. Ollie will do what he did at Mould and sign young players, says Uar Cantona. Look, I don't mind that. I don't mind that, because what you've got with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a manager that absolutely inspires his team. And, you know, I keep thinking about that game on Saturday, and I think, you know what? We didn't play very well. There was only probably 2 or 3 players that were above a 7 out of 10. Most players did a 6 out of 10, an average performance. And Southampton did play very well. They didn't create much. They scored 2 worldies, but Southampton find it hard to score. They couldn't score in a brothel if they were, you know, if they were I'm not going to go there, but they couldn't. They scored 2 worldies, and that should have been enough for them to get a point at Old Trafford. But with that fight back ability, that passion, that drive that Ollie gives the team, we win the game. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably will work better with younger players. Would it suit I mean, here's the case in point. Would it suit Manchester United to bring in a Toni Kroos or a Lewandowski or a Aubameyang, or, you know, somebody who's in that sort of 27 to 31 category, considered to be one of the best players in the world? Does that suit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Probably he can get a good... It might work, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a young, inexperienced manager in himself. He knows what Manchester United's all about, and he inspires people. It's far easier to, in them circumstances, for him to bring players in like De Ligt, like Sancho, you know, the younger player, to come to Manchester United, who's going to be in awe of Manchester United and learn from a Manchester United legend. I think that United actually, and I love this because this is what I want to see, but I think, I don't know what you lot think, I think United should be looking at top talent between the ages of about 19 and 25 this summer. You know, your Jadon Sancho's actually 18, but I think those sort of players Ollie will get the best out of. Now, Koulibaly is 27, but I think with defenders it's a little bit different. So yeah, I think that's a... I think that... Well, Koulibaly's 28. He's not 28 in Maada yet. Sancho or Mbappe, says Sassy Sekaran. It's like realistic and not realistic. I don't think Mbappe would come to Manchester United. I just don't think he would. The price we'd have to pay, it would blow our budget. And actually, you know what? This might sound a little bit controversial, but ability isn't always the most important thing. And what I mean by that is, yes, Mbappe is better than Sancho, but Mbappe would cost us close to £200 million. Sancho would probably cost less than half of that and leave us money to maybe get a CDM and a centre-back. If you get Mbappe, you're only getting Mbappe. Now, is Mbappe's ability so vast over Sancho that you'd just go for Mbappe and not get a midfielder and a centre-back? No. I don't think Sancho's massively behind Mbappe. I think in a structured 11... in the formation we play, you wouldn't miss out loads on what you get with Mbappe, with what you get with Sancho, but you could also get a decent centre-back because Sancho will be cheaper. So, you know, it's not always about, oh, let's get Messi, because, yeah, well, Messi's a bad example, actually, but getting the very best in a position, you might have to pay a massive premium for that. Getting somebody who's maybe one rung below, but is still going to be a very good signing, and they're half the price, so you can go and buy a centre-back. That's how United need to be. That's how we need to be. Signing one player is not what our summer should be about. We need 3 or 4. We do. We really do. Sancho is the best English talent I've seen since Rooney, says Can. You know, a lot of people don't like it. I think Sancho is one of the best players in the world at the moment, and people scoff at that. But I'm like, are you really seriously watching what he's all about? I mean, tomorrow night, I'm doing a video... The way tomorrow's going to work, we've got the Flex and Rant show going up at lunchtime, and then I've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference at 5 o'clock. So, live reaction to that at 5 o'clock. So, what I'm going to do tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on That's Football is Spurs Dortmund watch along. So, you can join me on That's Football for that. But you watch Sancho tomorrow night. 3-0 down Spurs. They're going to play defensive, so Dortmund are going to attack. You watch Sancho tomorrow night. I reckon he'll put in a good performance. I really do. Remember to smash a like on the video, everybody, and drop a like on the video, which is what I've just said. Get players who fit into the United team, says Michael Jones. Exactly. It's not about It's not about going and getting the best players. It's about what somebody brings to our team. Like I mentioned Toni Kroos, very good midfielder. Would I want him at Manchester United? No. I think he's too old. I don't think he fits our system. He's not particularly quick off the ground. Where would he fit in? He's not going to play the Matic role. Herrera's better, box to box, he's quicker, and Pogba's better than him. But Toni Kroos may well be better than a lot of our midfielders, but I wouldn't want him because I don't think he fits into our system. It is about getting players that fit into your system. There's a lot of clubs out there that make mistakes. Real Madrid did it for years. Oh, let's go and get Figo, let's get Beckham, let's get Zidane, let's get Ronaldo. They don't necessarily... They took them ages to win a Champions League because they were getting all these great players, but it's how do they fit into a system, which is why I was impressed with Zidane when he was at Real Madrid and he won back-to-back Champions Leagues, because the balance of his midfield three, Modric, Casemiro and Kroos, was probably one of the best balanced midfield threes we've ever seen in recent times. It is about getting the balance of the team. It's about having players off the bench who can make an impact. Virgil Hainsey says Lozano and centre-back or Sancho could be about the same. If we got Koulibaly and Sancho, I would be very, very happy. I still think we need a midfielder, though, because I still think that Matic is going to pick up more and more injuries. He's hitting that age now. And then when Matic is out, who's playing centre defensive midfielder? I know McTominay's doing this at the moment, but I seriously think McTominay's ceiling is championship level. So I think we need to bring in somebody who can play that CDM role. And maybe there's someone who can do it. Ollie Rogerson in the youth setup. Maybe Garner can step up. Maybe we could just get Fosu Mensah back and turn him into that player. Maybe Twansibi can play there. I'm going to Paris tomorrow, says Ollie Rogerson. Is Ransom Flex going? Flex is definitely going. So if you are over in Paris, watch out for the fan cams. He will be there doing that. Manchester United stand. We're at every game. Every game, home and away, whatever the tournament, we're at every game, and that's what we do, because that's what fan opinion is all about. We're all about fans, and thanks everyone who's joined us tonight for it. So, massive game against Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday. I refuse to give up on it. I think my mentality towards it is that I do think we'll be going out, because I think it is a very, very hard game. But is it mission impossible? No, I don't think it is. Anything can happen in a football game. That's why it's 11 against 11. 2-0 down, very, very difficult. But if we scored first, they'll get nervous. So 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. I always say 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. I think if we had our best team, I'd be mildly confident. It's going to be very, very difficult for us. But let's see how it goes. There was a few super chats that I missed. And the first one was, when will Football Index be available in the US, says Mustafa Hamada. I've got no idea, because you've got your own gambling rules, haven't you? Will Matic be back for the Arsenal game, says J Martin 03. I've got no idea. I think there's a good chance he will be, and I think he'd be very, very welcome in a game like that. I'd love to have Matic back for that game. Gustavo Cortes says you will never walk alone. George Ramos says, oh no, we read that one. Are we keeping some of Deadwood FC to add depth, says Abel Leon. I think we're probably doing it to save money, to be honest with you, if I can be honest with you. If Phelan leaves, will it be the same for Ollie, says Sirash Raju. I don't think there's any chance in a million years, Sirash, that Mike Phelan will leave Manchester United. And Jonah Jones says, how is the United Stand FC going? Any update on the shirt release? So trials are in just over 3 weeks. We've had a lot of people applying, and you will be told by this weekend whether you have been invited for trials. And our first game should be in April, which is when you'll see the kit and everything like that, and they will be available to buy for a limited time. So yeah, looking forward to that very, very much so. Strands to the bow of the United Stand, really. It is all about community. I liken the United Stand to the best football community out there, and because I'm biased, and also it's a bit of banter, it's a bit of fun as well. There was massive, I mean, let me just, for those who are still here, let me just say this, right? I've seen a lot of things on social media over the last week, really, because there are a couple of people who do fan cams for the United Stand, but there's a lot of people who do it as well. It's not exclusive to the United Stand. So what they are doing is they are going to football matches. I liken the United Stand. Adam from last night did it as well. The best football and they are out there. They are filming themselves on their phone. They're filming themselves on their phone, and then after the game, they are putting up reactions of how they reacted to the goals. And they're putting them out on social media and their own channels, and some people like it. And some people, mainly top Reds again, hate it. Hate it. And they've been quite vile about it. Get out of my club, you, and swearing and very vulgar things. You know what my thoughts on this are? I'm going to shock you here. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I do not like people filming themselves in football grounds. I don't like it. I think, one, it's a bit rude because you're filming and you've got people behind you, and do they really want to be on it? Two, you're in a football ground. You should be looking that way, not that way, and soaking up the atmosphere. That's my feeling about it. But you know what? I've got very good friends who do it. And if they want to do it, it's up to them. And if people enjoy it, watching it, it's up to them. And if people dislike it, it's up to them. There's no need to be rude and abusive about it. It doesn't make you a better fan because you hate it. I'm not a better fan because I don't like people vlogging in football grounds. I don't use my phone at Old Trafford. One, because there's no bloody reception anyway. And two, I don't need to be taking loads of photos of a ground that I've been to loads of times. I just don't like it. But some people do. Some people do. And it's all about opinion. So I just wanted to bring it up there because I'm sure there's some people who agree with me. And I'm sure there's some people who don't agree with me. But reality is, I like some things, I don't like others. I passionately dislike something, but I don't start being abusive to somebody. You know, I cannot stand EastEnders. I'm not on Twitter slagging off Cat Slater all the time. You know, I just don't watch it. I just don't like it. And I live and let live. You know, live and let live. That's what I think. And I think that's the great thing about the United Stan community is that if you don't like it, you don't watch it. If you do like it, you enjoy it, you get involved with a fantastic community. But it is all about opinion. In the main, we don't get a lot of shit. So thanks, everyone. I shall speak to you all tomorrow. We've got Flex and Rants coming up at lunchtime tomorrow. And also I'll be doing the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction at about 5 PM UK time because he's doing it at about 4:30 UK time. So be interesting to see what he's got to say. I'm really looking forward to this game. To be honest with you, out of the two games, Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal, the Paris Saint-Germain game is far more... It's got far more status. It's got far more Shazam. It's got far more jazz hands to it. It's the Champions League in Paris. It's great. You want to be playing these games. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be going through. But I'm very, very excited about it. Of course, the Arsenal game's important. We're looking forward to it. But I can't wait for Wednesday night as well. I hope you feel the same. Thanks, everyone, for watching tonight. If you have been watching live, you're all stars. If you're watching it a bit later, thank you very much. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll be doing Going for Goldbridge tomorrow lunchtime on my channel, by the way. I know there's a lot of people who are wondering about whether I'm going to talk about a certain subject. I will be. It's on my channel, Mark Goldbridge. If you've not been on it, get on there, subscribe, get your notifications on. There's a video going up tomorrow lunchtime where I will be having my say. Thanks for watching, but this isn't the place for it. Speak to you tomorrow.